I hope everyone has tried their exercises. They have seen their RBD environment and got some similarity with RBD tool and how to create a new project and how to create a new rich UI handler. I'm just waiting for 2 minutes more and then I will be starting. If you have any questions, please go ahead or type in the chat window regarding the topics that we covered yesterday, or if you have any problem, please go ahead and ask me. Okay, I think let's get started here. Okay, in the previous classes yesterday, we covered basic topics in EGL. First, we learned about what is EGL and why we should learn EGL. What are the advantages that we get from EGL, and how we can create Web 2.0 or rich Internet applications using EGL, and how EGL simplifies creating rich Internet applications. And in the second part of yesterday's class, we seen the basic examples. We seen the RBD tool environment where we are creating our EGL projects. Then we started learning EGL syntax. We have covered a few basic like primitive types, data types, data items, records. Those are the building blocks of EGL language. Now we are starting from this point. We are going to learn what are the expressions, operators, and other like built-in libraries or functions that come with EGL runtime. Yesterday we left at this point. Now I'm starting from this and moving ahead. Okay. Assignment statements. In EGL, we have 3 assignment statements, left to right, and in this case we are assigning a value that is present on the right side to a variable that is available on the left side. This is similar to most of the guys, and you can find similar syntax in almost all languages. Yes, please. Okay. We have second assignment statement where we are using a keyword, set keyword, through which we initialize or make empty or do some other like operations on some variables. If you see on the example given on the slide, here we are setting initial values of our phone record. So it will reinitialize, or it will make the values to their initial values, and in this way it will reinitialize your whole record. We have another example, set input record in to empty. Here we are, if for let's say there is some values inside of this empty record, and by writing this statement we are like removing or deleting all of those values. So we are just making it empty. So this is the second way to initialize some variables. We have third method that is using a move statement. This is similar to COBOL languages where we are using a move keyword and we are moving some value from one variable to another variable. Here at the bottom, two examples are given, like we are moving phone number input to phone number out. So the values that is present inside a phone number input variable, it will be transferred to phone number out variable. Same way, employee record in dot last name. So the last name value inside of this employee record will be transferred or copied into employee record out dot last name. Same way, we have some sort of initialization or set value blocks where we are like setting some properties to some widgets. As we have already seen that we can give some properties to data items, because same way we can assign some properties to our different widgets, like rich UI buttons, grids, boxes, rich UI handler. In the properties, we are like giving some information which modify the behavior or the functionality of that widget. If you see the example given on this slide, here we are telling that, okay, we have a box widget and it has different properties. One property is column equal 1. This tells that the column that will appear inside of this box, there will be one single column. So all of the children that will be assigned to this box widget, they will appear in a single. Same way, we have another property, it's a children property, where we are assigning some children to this box. In other words, you can think of box as HTML table where we have rows and columns. In HTML table, we are putting some values inside of different cells. Now, same way you can consider box as HTML table that will be generated against this box widget by the runtime. So the children, these children will be placed inside of different cells. We have a modified version or the advanced version of box widget that is grid layout that we have seen in previous examples yesterday, through which we will be assigning the cell position. For example, I want to put a button or a pie chart onto a particular cell or onto particular position inside of my grid. Then I will be providing some properties through which I can place my widget inside of my grid layout at particular position. Any question regarding this assignment statement? This is similar to other languages. We have some operators, some symbols through which we do some mathematical operations, like we have plus, minus signs, we have multiplication, division characters. We have modular operator. This is almost similar to other languages. I'm going to highlight those which are the advanced or unique to EGL, so that we can learn those operators instead of learning about plus sign, minus sign, or the common operator. Here we have as parameter, or sorry, as operator. This operator behaves like if performed as a casting. For example, you want to cast some value into another value. Let's say you have a string variable. Inside of this string variable, you have stored some integer value. Now you want to cast this value because this is integer in reality, but it is stored inside of a string variable. Now you can cast it by using this as, and you can save it into integer variable. Same way you can cross from one type to another type. Same way we have some other properties. We can have concatenation operators through which we can concatenate some string values. We have two colon marks through which we can specify some sort of like or we can even use this symbol where we are specifying our event handler inside of our widgets. We have another like parameters, and we have maths, and we have and signs. And like we can, for example, when we are going to manipulate with some string values, and we want to see, okay, let's say there is some similarity with the values inside of this variable, we would be using like, or we would be using math. For example, if you have some experience on SQL language, you have written some queries, then you will be similar. You can find the like reservoir through which we are specifying. Okay, if the value is like to this so and so characters or values, then it can bring so and so data. Same way here we can use the like parameter. The examples will come up in the later classes. Same way we can have like some other parameters, logical operators, and like logical AND operators or OR operators when we are performing logical operations. Like in if else conditions, we will be using like AND operators, OR operators. Here we have is the casting operator example. If you see here, we have an example given here. We are trying to cast a variable is to what? Here we have a list of available choices. This list appears when you press Control space from your keyboard. In this way, you can cast from one type to another type. If you see, we have concatenation example given here. We are concatenating two string variables with the help of plus sign. I hope this will be easier. I'm just going ahead and seeing if there is some unique to EGL thing, and I will do it. To find okay, if you let's have an example. For example, you want to find substring within your string variable. Now, how we can find a substring or some str or few characters within our string variable? Let's assume we have a str field. It's a string variable, and it holds a string like example word. Now we want to find out the A and M characters from the within of this field. Then we can specify the position of those characters that are present inside of that string. Then we can use these characters. Just hold on, let me check. I have some message here. Okay, I'm sorry. Actually, I have got a message that there is some noise problem to some other guys. I'm trying to mute other people. Hope it doesn't. Okay, I have muted rest of the guys. I hope it would be clear to you. Okay, is it fine to everyone? Or still there is some noise coming? Okay, we were seeing like how we can find out some characters from within our string variable. We can use some. We can use the sub reference parameter positions. If you see, we have an example given here. Here we are specifying. Okay, let me find out the character that is present at the position of this 7 and 9 position inside of this string field. In this way, I can get all 3 characters that are present from 7 position to 9 position inside of this str field. Same way, if you want to dynamically supply some parameter through which you can specify the sub position within your string variable, and you want to find some specific characters within your string field, then you can specify these characters. You would be using the large bracket sign, and then you would be using the position of those characters. Another example is given here. In the if you see at the bottom, we have if condition, and here we are saying, okay, date is a string field. This is the string field that is holding date value, and we are picking 2 characters. Both are present from 1 position to 2nd position. So we are picking 2 characters from this date as string field, and then we are comparing those 2 characters with this. If both are greater than 50, then it will execute the if part, otherwise it will execute the else part. I hope it will be clear to everyone. Let me see what else are remaining here. Okay, we have same way we can use these are like operator overriding examples given on this slide. For example, rather than like adding 2 values, you can use these shortcut from shortcut operator. For example, if you see at the bottom, we have like a minus equal sign and 4. Here we are trying to minus 4 value from the a. This is similar to this syntax, but this is a shortcut syntax. Same if you want to multiply 4 or some other values, so this variable or what are the value is inside of this variable, you can modify. You can multiply, you can minus, you can subtract, you can divide, whatever you can do this. So these are the like shortcut operators. And this is an example of operator overriding. Overriding or overloading, I guess. Well, we have some looping or conditional statements. Those are similar to other languages, like we have if else statement through which we can judge the condition, or we can see the behavior of our values, through which we can control the flow of our application. We have 3 types of conditional statements. We have case statement, we have if else statements, we have try on exception block. Try on exception block is similar to in Java we see try catch blocks. For example, you have doubt in your code that it will execute it will generate an exception on runtime, then you will put your code inside of this try on exception block. For looping statements, we have three types of loops available in EGL language. We have for loops, we have for each loop, we have while loops. The for loop is normal to all statement, and for each loop is specific to or mostly used for when you are going to communicate, manipulate with your databases. For example, you have a number of records that you have fetched from your database, and you want to iterate all of the records, then you can use for each. It will automatically iterate over all those records. We will be seeing this example in the database class. And while we have while loops, same way we have some conditional statements which we can put inside of this both looping and conditional statement. We have three statements like continue, exit, and return. Let's go in detail of these statements. In conditional statements, we can have if-else blocks. We can have multiple if-else blocks. We can have case statements. We can have try on exceptions blocks. Same way we can use some other reserve words as we have already seen, like as reserve word. Same way we have in reserve word. In reserve word allows you to search within an array. For example, you have array and you want to search some value inside of your array, then you can use in rather than starting or writing a complete loop through which you can iterate each of the array variable and then finding the desired value. It is better to just write in keyword, and it will automatically iterate through this array, and it will find out the required value for you. It is a shortcut type of functionality through which you can easily find the desired value inside of your array or SQL record or whatever the array type it is. Same way we have like, where as I already told you that if you are familiar with SQL language and you have written few queries, then same way you can use some will card to search for a specific character or specific values. Or you can use base, where you will be using some like will cards or pattern to search within the within your variables. Same way we have is or is not numeric or is blank. For example, we have a variable, but I'm not sure either this variable is storing some numeric value or not. Then I can use is numeric keyword, then it will tell me, it will see, okay, this variable is storing some numeric value. I can use not numeric, means this variable is not storing numeric values. Same way if I want to know either my variable is storing some blanks, means there is no data or it's a blank, then I can use this is blank reservoir, and it will automatically check my variable that either it's blank or not. Here we have few examples given here. We have multiple if-else blocks given here. We can see how we can write multiple else conditions. If you see on the left, on the right top side, we have few examples given here. We have like outer if-else block, and then we have inside of else block we have another if-else block. In this way, you can combine multiple if-else blocks. Always remember that if block ends with and reserve word. There is no curly braces involved in the if-else block. You terminate your if block with and reserve word. Some another examples here. We are using AND operators to check logical AND conditions. We can use OR logical operators. We are checking if A is greater than B and A is greater than C, then it will execute the if block, the outer if block. I hope this would be straightforward to everyone. I'm just going ahead. Okay, we have another example on case block. Let's say you have some conditions that you want to execute on number of possible values. For example, I want to execute some code when my condition is meeting multiple choices. Then I can use case and case block, and I can put my multiple choices in the when statement. Like for example, here we have given an example. If you see, we have case block, and here we are taking a value. We are using a date, time, lib, and month of. This is a function. We will be learning about these built-in libraries and the functions that come with RBD or EGL runtime. Here we are trying to find out the month of, if the month is coming in the first quarter, then we will execute the first quarter part. If the month is from the second quarter or third quarter or the fourth quarter, then we will be executing the corresponding block. If, let's say, something is not coming within our conditional or possible values, then we can use otherwise. Otherwise, we'll execute if values are not meeting all of our choices, then it will execute in the final case or in the remaining case. Okay, we have example given here regarding the in keyword that help us to foster our searching ability within the arrays. As I have just explained it, let's say we have an array and I want to iterate through all of the values that are stored inside of array. Normally, we would be using for loop to iterate through all of the values that are present inside of the array, but here in EGL we have in reserve word, through which it will automatically locate the value inside of my array. We have an example given here. In the first example, we are searching some value inside of customer.lastname. So it will find the value search string within the last name, customers.lastname. It will iterate all of the values that are present inside of the customer array, and it will be finding them corresponding or the matched string. And if it finds, then it will, if false, otherwise it will execute the else part. We have examples given here regarding the like keyword or match keyword, so which we can find some conditions. For example, I want to know if this variable is storing some sort of pattern or some sort of strings. For example, if a string is starting with ABC, then I want to know, okay, if this my variable is having some value that is starting with ABC, then I would be using like parameter or match parameter. With this, we can find the desired value. Same way we have is and is a conditional operator through which we can see either my variable is numeric or is blank, or my variable is not numeric or it's not blank, then I can execute or I can take the corresponding action. Same way we have is a ISA is a allows block that will that is primarily used for when you are going to interface with your Java classes, or when you are calling Java code inside of your EGL, then you would be using is a keyword. For example, you are not sure about the type of Java variable, then you would be using is a. For example, I have a field inside of my EGL code and I want to test the condition, okay, if my field is a type of Java object, then I would be using my field is a Java object name. Okay, any question regarding these conditional blocks which we have just read about them? Now I'm starting about the for loops. These are the loops statement through which you can execute multiple times your code. With the for loop, you can specify the number of times you want to execute certain lines. Here we have a code example given here. This is a syntax for writing a for loop. You will be using a for reserve word, and then within the brackets you would be specifying a variable. Here we have specified I integer variable that is starting from 1 to SV, up to what position, like up to 100 times, 10 times, or 1,000 times by 1. By 1 means you want to either modify, how you want to increment the values of this iteration variable, how you want to iterate through your for loop. If you see at the bottom, we have example of the blocks of for loop, how we can write our for block. We would be using for block, and then we will be specifying or giving the counter variable that will be running inside of our for block, and then we will be specifying the start position to end position. Means our values or the for loop will be starting from 1 position or 10 position to 100 position, and it will be incremented by 1 or incremented by 2 or incremented by 5. Same way we have while block. While block, we can specify a condition that will be checked on every iteration of this while block. It will take, okay, if the condition is still true, it will execute the while block. If the condition inside of the while block is false, then it will end the while block. Again, note the while block has been terminated with the end reserve word. Okay, we have some other reserve words that help us to control our the flow of our logic within our code. We have continuous statements. For example, let's say we have some sort of for loop or while loop, and on a certain point I want to continue rather than executing or going through the whole loop. For example, if you see, let's take this example that is given on this slide. If you see this example, we are starting a while loop that is starting from 1 position to 10 position. And then we have if block. Here we are checking if I value is less than 5, then it continues. Means it will not go beyond of this line and executing the whole for loop, but it will continue from the next iteration from the loop. Once I value becomes greater than 5, then it will execute the immediately second statement, that is sum statement. The second statement that is specified after the continue statement. So continue statement goes back and execute the second iteration. It will not let the interpreter or the runtime to execute all those lines that are given, that are mentioned after the continue reservoir. Same way we have exit statement. Based on some condition we can exit from the immediate block. For example, based on some condition, I can exit from the immediate if block. I can exit from immediate for block. I can exit from immediate while block or for each block or case block. Means it will not execute whole iteration. It will not continue the whole iteration. Once a condition has been matched, then it will exit from that immediate block. Here we have an example given for the file for loop. Based on condition that is mentioned inside of if block, if sum is greater than 1000, then it exit for loop. Then it will exit the for loop and it will execute the command that is immediately mentioned after the for block. Same way we have return statement. Let's say you want to return some values within your function, then you will be using return statement, return reservoir. We will be using this return reservoir when we are going to create like a database examples or web services, where we will be returning some values from our web services or database functions. Okay, any questions regarding these statements or the reservoir that we have just learned from, so that I can continue to the next topic. Okay, let me see if there is a question in the chat window. Okay, we have runtime. We have try on exception blocks. As I told you, if you have a doubt or if you want to check if there is exception or error message is possible to be generated at the runtime, then you can use try on exception block or try on exception statement, where you will be putting you would be writing your line that may cause an exception or error. There are some cases. For example, you are accessing a web service or a database. You are calling a database. So let's say if there is network connection problem or some other things happen, then it can raise an exception. So you have to put your code within the try on exception block so that you can handle your code in a good way rather than crashing your application, rather than having unexpected results. Let's see how we can write our try on exception block. Okay, here we have the syntax. through which we can write our try on exception blocks. We have, first we would be writing our try reserve word, then we will be writing like call program. Let's say we are calling a program 1 and we don't know either if this program exists inside of our project or it has some like a database or network connection that is going to happen with program 1, then we can call the program within the try block. Then we have on exception block where we would be like catching the exception data being generated by these lines, and then we can print out the corresponding exception error message. And question, I don't write. I thought few slides were left off. I didn't press the share screen. Someone pointed it very late. Anyway, I hope you already have the slides with you, so you can go through and you can see this. Let me very quickly go through these things what we have seen. I will not take this thing. I just very quickly. Yeah. Okay. It's a slide. We started from slide number 40, and we started with logical operators. Then we seen the example of logical operators. Then we see the substring variables, like how we can find some substring position within variable. Then we have seen some mathematical shortcut operators. Then we came to conditional and looping statements where we learned about like case, if else block or try on exception blocks. Then we some looping for each while block. Then we went to in the detail of if else conditional blocks. Then we've seen how we can write our multiple or combined if else blocks. Then we learned about the case statements, like how we can write our case statements, and what are the syntax and what are the benefits which we get from the case statement. Same way we learned about the in conditional operator, which helps us to iterate through the arrays. Then we seen few helpful reserve words like matches and is a keyword that help us to match within the values or arrays that are present inside of our code. Then we started for loops, while loops, and we seen the syntax. Then we continued with the continuous statement and the exit statement, and then we came to return statement through which we can return some values from our functions. Now we are at the position on the try on exception blocks. So this is the place where we were just talking about previously. It wasn't shared through the slides. That's why you are not able to see my screen. I'm sorry for that. Sometimes it happens that we forget something. Okay. Okay. We have try on exception blocks through which we can check if if there is a possibility within our code that may execute, that may generate an exception on the runtime, then we would be putting our code within the try on exception block. Here is an example given here, the syntax how we can write our try on exception block. We will be using try on exception and end reservoir, and we will be putting our code that may execute or that may generate an exception on the runtime within the try block. And inside of on exception block, here we are writing the statement, and we are displaying or handling the exception that is being generated at the runtime. I will show you how we can write our try on exception block, and how we can handle the exception, and how we can show the error message on the runtime, and how we can jump from one position to another position based on the exception. By the way, there is a possibility, or there is a feature available in EGL. You can create your own exceptions. As you do in Java, you can create your own exceptions. Same way, there's a syntax available through which you can create your own exceptions. I hope if you remember, yesterday we learned about different record types. There was exception record available that we can use and to create our exception or a special type of exceptions. Okay, here we have some exception types. These are the few exceptions given here just to give you an idea that what are those conditions where these exceptions may come in our program. For example, you are going to reference a variable that is not present within your array size, then it will give you an index out of bounds exception. Or we have another exception here, exception type given here, J2EE session request access exception. For example, you want to access a J2EE session request and session has been out or timeout, then it can give you this type of exception. Same way we have another exception given here like SQL exception, file input output exception, or typecast exception, or service binding exception. In case of when we are going to bind a service, web service, then if there is some problem with web service binding, then it can give this type of exceptions. As I mentioned, we can create our custom exceptions. Here we are seeing a syntax through which we can create our custom exceptions, and even we can throw our exceptions. Throw is the way through which you can push your exceptions to another part of your code. In this way, you can maintain the flow within your project. Okay, now we are going to learn about the built-in libraries or the system libraries that come along with EGL runtime. We have a number of libraries that are present within the EGL runtime. If you go in the EGL help or RBD help, you can easily find a list of libraries and the functions that are present within each of these libraries. Here we would be learning about the few libraries that are very basic and very important to us. Let's start with datetime-lib library. Datetime-lib library, this library deals with when you are going to manipulate or work with date and time variables. It has a number of functions through which you can create your date variables, time variables, or you can find out date type or year or day or week that is either present inside of your variable or not. You can add multiple dates. You can create time stamps. You can add. You can do different sort of operations by using these libraries. Same way, if you want to manipulate or you want to have some sort of working on your string variables, then you would be using strlib library. It has same as some helpful functions through which you can format your string values. You can format your values that are in a date format or in a different format, and you can specify your formatting patterns. You can clip out. You can find some sort of like substring. You can find some sort of tokens or some values within string variable. Same way you can use like uppercase or lowercase function, so which you can uppercase or lowercase your values that your character values that are present inside of your string variable. Same way you can use like character length, a helpful function through which you can find the number of characters that are present within your string variable. Same way we have mathlib library through which we can perform mathematical operations. For example, we have power functions, we have round function, we have square root functions, we have sine function, cosine function, and some other functions. These functions in their detail with examples are given in the RBD help. If you open RBD and go in the help menu, then there is help option present. You can just click on it and a window will appear where you just type your function name or library name or even reserved word, just press enter and it will list down the whole detail regarding that function or library or whatever it is. Same way we have service lib. When you are going to manipulate with your services, then these libraries will help you. Same way we have syslib. For example, you want to have a dynamic connection with your databases, then we have some helper functions that are present inside of this syslib. For example, you want to commit your queries that you have just executed inside of your database. So you can use commit or rollback functions. Same if you want to show an example or an error message on the screen, then you can use this helper set error message function. Or if you want to find the size of an array variable, then you can use the size function that is present inside of this syslib. Same way we have VGLab. For example, you have VGen, Visual Edge Generator, to EGL compatibility, or you have migration, you want to have migrate from Visual Edge Generator to EGL, or you want to have some sort of communication between VGen and EGL, then you would be using this library. And it has some functions available through which you can do some sort of manipulation with VGen variable. Okay, same way we have J2 libs library. For example, you have created your web application and now you want to maintain the sessions. You want to track the requests and data coming from the client or browser, and based on the request you want to perform some operations, then you have this library available, and it has number of functions through which you can handle different requests. You can maintain sessions. You can have some sort of like different functionality or behavior, whatever you want to do. Same way we have another library. It's a sys variable library. It has some other functions available. Okay, we are coming to date time examples given here, that how we can create our date variables. If you have any question regarding the libraries that we have just learned so far, any libraries that we just seen here. Before I move on to this date and time variable declaration and how we can declare our date times and how we can format our dates. Okay, we have a question like, can we use J2EE Libs library under the rich UI? Well, it depends that how you are creating your rich projects. For example, if you have combined your rich projects with your non-rich projects, then you can maintain the sessions, or you can do some other operations using this library. But it depends on the type of the application that you have developed. Normally, the rich UI application, it generates HTML and JavaScript. But we have another option available in EGL through which we can create a web application that is not based on rich UI, but it is based on JSF, Java Server Faces, where we can easily use J2EE library, and we can have those functions available like session functions, application request, or server request, and some other functions available. But if you want to combine both things like Java EGL Web JSF project or a JSF functionality with your EGL Rich UI functionality, then you can harness the benefits of this library within your Rich UI. I hope this would be clear to you now. If any questions, please go ahead. Okay, now we are having 3 slides regarding how we can create our date and time variables within our EGL language. Here we have a syntax given on the slide and few examples at the bottom. We are creating my date is a variable, and its type is date, and within the curly braces we have specified few properties. Here we have specified one property, and we are telling it the date format. Now my date variable, and it will be able to hold the date value, and its format will be in this way, like YYYMMGD in the ISO format. So you can specify US format, you can specify some other formats by using this special property, date format property within the curly braces. So the variable will be storing, will be able to store date values in your desired format. Same way, if you want to create a timestamp, you can create your timestamp. By default, date, timestamp both store the current values of your system. Same way, if you see at the bottom, we have internal reserve word, internal data type through which we can create intervals. For example, you want to create interval for years, or interval that denotes or shows months, or interval that only denotes days. Then you will be creating your internal interval that is specific or that is only representing years. For example, in the first example, we have created a 2 years interval, and we have assigned 2. Now this interval, 2 years, is only having years value, not months or days value. Same way, we have 9 months interval. So this interval only represents 9 months. It doesn't know what are those months. It doesn't know what are the years, what are the days. But it is only 9 months interval. Same way you can have year and month interval combined. And here comes a question in mind that why we need intervals. For example, let's say you have a date and you want to go ahead 2 years, 5 years, or some days, or a few months, and you want to add certain months or years within your date. Then you will be creating an interval of that period, and then you will be adding that interval in your date. So your date will go ahead based on the interval. We will be seeing how we can combine the interval. Here we have an example. If you see, we have created a date in, and here we are adding 90 value. Here it's adding 90 days in our date. For example, if this date in variable is storing today's value, now by executing, it will represent 90 days ahead of today's date. Same way, if we have declared an interval of 3 months, if we add interval of 3 months into today's date, then this variable, date in variable, will be showing a date ahead of 3 months. Same way you can create interval for years, months, and you can add in your date. Same way you can subtract some values from your date. Either you want to subtract days, intervals, or some other things. You can perform in this way. I hope it would be straightforward to you. Now we have some examples given here, like date time manipulation, how we can manipulate on date time variables, what are the operators that we can use, and what are the built-in functions that we can use to manipulate the date time variables. And by the way, the help or the details are given in the help, RBD help, or on the EGL forum, through which you can get the detail of all of these functions of built-in libraries or reservoir keywords. Okay, we have a few examples given here for the format. For example, you want to have a specific format for your date time field, then you can write that corresponding format or custom format when you are going to create your date or time stamp variable. If you see on the top, we have date time pattern given here, and on the right we have corresponding output of this pattern. In the first we have YYY, year, dot, MM, and dot DD, and same way we have specified some other values. So in this way you can create you can use, these are the built-in or the available patterns given, but you can create your own custom patterns. How to create your custom functions? Same way, if you see, you will be just creating your date variable using curly braces and then specifying the properties. Here you would be writing date format property, and then you will be specifying your pattern. So this date variable will be holding the date value in your format, in your date format. Same way, for example, given here. Okay, so this is the end of this presentation, the basic presentation that is concerned about the EGL syntax, libraries, looping, conditional statement, and operators. And here we learned about data items, prototype, and if you have any question, please go ahead before I end this session. Any question regarding this type? Or the libraries? Okay. So I have a question. Yes. Will you be sending assignment in slides? Yes. I have already shared the slides, and I'm giving like a different assignment in these sessions during our like class. Like for example, once we have read a new topic, then I will be saying like, okay, now you try to go through this these slides and do the exercise yourself. Like yesterday, we have explored the RBD tool. What are the different perspectives, views that are available in RBD, and then we created a new project, and are you a handler? And then I asked you guys to go ahead and explore the RBD tool, see what are the views, perspectives are there, and try to create a new project, try to work, play with different widgets and create your HUI page. So in this way, I would be like giving assignments once we finish each day slides, and or maybe within the topics, I would be like giving you some assignments. So I will be giving you assignments, but the slides are already with you. If you do not have slides, I can just tell me. I will give you the URL. So from here you can download all of these slides. Okay. Okay. I'm just leaving you guys. In the next part, we will be learning about the EGL building blocks, like how we can create a HUI handler, what are the details, how we can create events inside of EGL HUI HUI pages, like how we can create on-click events, drag events, and what are the types of events that are available, and what are the widgets, and how events work. Then we will be going to learn about the CSS file. If I have custom cascading style sheets already with me, and I want to use those CSS files, and how I can use those CSS files, and how I can modify the look and feel of my HUI pages. So we will be learning these topics in the next session. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. We will meet after 2 hours at the same time. If you have any questions, please let me know via email, or try to go through this slide, whatever we have covered in today's class, so that if you encounter any problem, or if you have any questions, so that once we meet again, then you can ask me, or you can tell me the problems or the questions, whatever that is coming in your mind. Okay. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.